10 TV shows every Brit watched in the 90s. In a time before streaming, before binge-watching and endless scrolling, there was a magic to switching on the telly and knowing the whole street was doing the same. The 1990s in the UK were more than just a decade. They were a cultural moment, and the TV was its beating heart. From iconic theme tunes to unforgettable characters, British TV in the 90s stitched itself into the fabric of our everyday lives. These are the 10 TV shows every Brit watched in the 90s. The shows that raised us, united us, and made the living room our sacred space. 10. Gladiators. Contenders. Ready? Gladiators. Ready? If those words don't immediately transport you to a living room filled with cheers, then were you even alive in the 90s? Gladiators wasn't just a TV show, it was Saturday night adrenaline wrapped in Lycra. Broadcast on ITV from 1992 to 2000, it featured massive challenges, equally massive egos, and a cast of superhuman athletes with names like Jet, Wolf, and Shadow. Each week, contestants would battle these modern-day warriors in events like Duel, Hang Tough, and the Eliminator. British TV in the 90s had many icons, but Gladiators was a rare beast. Part sports, part pantomime, and entirely addictive. Whether you were Team Lightning or Team Trojan, one thing's for sure: you never missed an episode. 9. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Now this is a story all about how a West Philly prince became a British after-school legend. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, though American, was aired religiously on BBC Two in the late afternoons, and it felt as British as beans on toast. Will Smith's charm, Uncle Phil's wisdom, and Carlton's dance gave UK kids something cool, funny, and surprisingly heartfelt to tune into. The show tackled real issues: class, race, family, all with a wink and a laugh. And that theme song? Every Brit born before 1995 can still rap it word for word. For many of us, it was the perfect bridge between cartoons and adult telly, a sitcom with soul. 8. Top of the Pops. Long before Spotify playlists or TikTok trends, the UK had one musical compass: Top of the Pops. Every Thursday evening, families huddled around their bulky televisions to watch the latest hits. From the Spice Girls' debut to Oasis vs. Blur, the 90s on Top of the Pops were explosive. It wasn't just a music show, it was the music moment of the week. Whether you tuned in for the live performances, the dodgy miming, or just to see who was number one, TOTP made pop culture feel alive. In terms of classic 90s British shows, this one gave us the soundtrack to our school discos and heartbreaks. 7. Art Attack. Here's one I made earlier. Wait, wrong show, but you get the drift. Art Attack on CITV, hosted by the endlessly creative Neil Buchanan, made every child believe they were artists in disguise. From potato stamps to papier-mâché planets, the show sparked a creative boom across Britain's primary schools. And then there was the Head, that talking statue who looked like he'd wandered in from a haunted museum and decided to critique children's art. Creepy? Maybe? Iconic? Absolutely. British TV in the 90s had plenty of educational shows, but none made mess-making feel quite so glorious. After every episode, the nation's recycling bins were mysteriously emptied, and living rooms became mini art studios. 6. Blind Date. Before dating apps and DM, there was Blind Date, and at its heart was the national treasure herself, Cilla Black. "What's your name and where do you come from?" she'd ask with a wink. And thus began another episode of glorious awkwardness and endearing hope. From cringe-worthy pickup lines to the big reveal when the screen slid back, Blind Date gave us all a peek into the chaotic charm of British courtship. It aired on Saturday nights when the whole family gathered for takeaway and telly. In many ways, Blind Date was a social study wrapped in sequins, and it had us all rooting for romance. 5. The Simpsons. Although born in the USA, The Simpsons became a cornerstone of UK 90s childhood. Sky One gave us endless reruns, and Channel 4 kept it alive into the 2000s. But the 90s were prime Simpsons. Bart's pranks, Homer's donuts, Lisa's sax solos. It was satire with heart. Whether you understood the politics or just loved the slapstick, it offered something for everyone. It's no exaggeration to say this yellow family shaped the humor of a generation. In many British homes, tea time was simply rearranged to fit an episode in. 4. Biker Grove. Geordie accents, teen drama, paintball, trauma. Biker Grove wasn't your average after-school show. It was raw, real, and unforgettable. Set in Newcastle, it gave us PJ and Duncan, who'd later morph into Ant and Dec. But more than that, it gave us storylines that mattered. From friendships to first crushes, peer pressure to betrayal, it respected its young audience enough to give them stories with depth. And of course, who could forget the iconic "he can't see, man" moment? It was meme-worthy before memes even existed. In the realm of classic 90s British shows, Biker Grove stood tall as a gritty gem. 3. EastEnders. Dum Dum, Dum 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 Dum. That opening theme was a cultural cue to hush the room. EastEnders in the 90s was gripping, gritty, and wildly addictive. It was a soap, yes, but not just any soap. It was the soap. Peggy Mitchell's shouts, Phil and Grant's chaos, Dot Cotton's wisdom, Bianca's drama. EastEnders gave us characters who felt like family. And when it delivered a cliffhanger, it did so with a thud that echoed in playgrounds and office kitchens the next day. British TV in the 90s had its fair share of drama, but nothing was quite as unmissable or quotable as an EastEnders episode in its prime. 2. SMTV Live. Saturday mornings. If you didn't wake up to SMTV Live, did you even do the 90s properly? Hosted by a young Ant and Dec alongside Kat Deely, this was pure television chaos in the best way. From Wonky Donkey to Chums, their friends' parody, every sketch was unpredictable, hilarious, and joyfully silly. Unlike the polished studio shows of today, SMTV Live felt spontaneous, like the presenters were just winging it, and that's why we loved them. They were mates, not polished robots, and they made us feel like we were part of the gang. In the grand story of nostalgic British TV, this was a comedic crown jewel. 1. Blue Peter. Now, the moment you've been waiting for. Sitting proudly at the top of our list of 10 TV shows, every Brit watched in the 90s is none other than the timeless legend, Blue Peter. The longest-running children's program in the world, Blue Peter wasn't just a show, it was a rite of passage. You watched it. You tried the crafts. You begged for the badge. There were pets, Shep, Goldie, and more. There were presenters doing daring challenges, and there were always appeals that encouraged children to care about the world beyond their doorstep. Blue Peter made being curious cool. And let's not forget the Advent crown, made with coat hangers and tinsel, and that feeling of pride when they read out your name. It was telly with purpose, with heart, and with the power to unite millions of kids across the UK. Out of all the classic 90s British shows, Blue Peter was the glue that held childhood together. Honorable mentions. Because let's be honest, there were too many. Funhouse. Pat Sharp's mullet and the Gungy-filled obstacle course were legendary. The Crystal Maze, Richard O'Brien and his harmonica? Iconic. Grange Hill, gritty school drama with more realism than most adult shows. Noel's House Party. Mr. Blobby lives rent-free in all our nightmares. These weren't just shows, they were experiences, landmarks in the weekly rhythm of 90s Britain. 10 TV shows every Brit watched in the 90s, isn't just a list. It's a love letter to simpler times, shared moments, and the kind of telly that united generations before we all had remotes of our own. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell.